Hello, everybody. I am super excited to bring a very important person in a real estate transaction to visit us for today's show. Here we have Jim. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good. Thank you for taking the time and joining us today because you
My
are very
pleasure.
important and it's really, really good to hear all about what you do.
Good deal. I love to have conversations like this just because there's a lot of misnomers out there in the inspection world. So fire away, and we would love to answer the best we can.
Awesome. All right. So Jim is one of the trusted home inspectors that we use. So when you buy or sell a home, you definitely want to get a home inspection done because there is a lot of hidden treasures that could cost you a lot of money if you don't catch it during the escrow period. And Jim and his team are valuable team members that can catch those gold mines, or should I say landmines, during the inspection period, so that we can deal with them during escrow, so that the buyers can get into a home that's safe, and the sellers make sure that they avoid liability after the transaction is closed. So Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business?
I've been on the business for probably about 4 years now. We started up. I've been an inspector, though, a fire inspector, for about 4.5, 5 years with the local federal fire department. So the inspection world is very near and dear to my world. I was a firefighter also in the local San Diego area. I work specifically with the Department of Defense as a civilian under federal fire, and was I'm actually born and raised in San Diego. So I have volunteer work that I've been doing throughout different departments in education is based out of San Diego. So I'm very familiar with the structures and the outlining areas, including the city too. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Love to do inspections. I'm very detail oriented, so it's perfect.
So what goes into an inspection report? What do you normally inspect? What should buyers be aware of, and should look for when they're doing an inspection?
Good question. There's a couple different. If you ask a couple different inspectors, they will have different answers. What we do at Home Team is we want to try to set a pace of a non-alarmist type report and interaction with the client and the agent, specifically because we listen to our agents. We want to, and because we listen to them, we listen to the facts that they just don't want us to blow up a deal by us saying something kind of crazy and off the cuff. So that in the report is kind of reflecting how well it is reflecting how we handle and approach the inspection. And that inspection doesn't have extremely basically blueprints of a roof on our inspection that just overwhelms anybody that would read it and that is not familiar with roofs or is just not a contractor. So we don't want to freak people out, so to speak, in regards to giving them too much information. What we try to do is we give them an approach of everything can be fixed, and everything can be fixed. I don't know what the pockets or the ideas or the plans are for the home. So I'm giving a very neutral perspective. I'm giving them facts, but I'm not giving them red flags to send their hair on fire running out of the room. Oh my gosh, what did I get into? We do this, in a team mentality. In the report time, we're compiling it during the actual inspection. And the idea is ideally we should have that done for the individual client the day of, or just as soon as we walk out the door. if at all possible. So that gives them a sense of ease, because they're not waiting on what did they find, what did they find, what did they find. In addition to, we make sure we spend time after, about 30 minutes with them, to do an actual walkthrough and a review of the report summary, so they do feel comfortable with what we're presenting them. We're not just saying, here you go, bug on the windshield information, see you, bye, let me have your money, I'm gone, never see me again. We want to make sure that we're there before, during, and after, that they feel comfortable in what they're getting into. And more importantly, that the agent understands that we're not going to say anything or do anything that's really going to shy them away from going, into deals, especially with first-time buyers. And that's kind of what we like to do with the agent, is sit down and get an idea of who we're dealing with as far as a client. Are they experienced? Are they investors? And they're like, you know what, give me the down and dirty. I just want to know it and give me the nitty gritty. If it's a first time buyer, we take that a different approach. We're much more easy. We're much more calming. We try to take a sense of everything's gonna be okay, what we're gonna see, and explain what we do. Our reports, we try not to make them huge and big, and try not to make them overwhelming. Although they do have important details in there, and we highly recommend reading them from start to finish, page 1 to the end. And so that's our approach, and that's what we're trying to do to ease the woes of the clients and some of the agents too, because we understand that some of the agents have had bad experience with home inspectors that just had said some things that were just, let's just say, inappropriate for the inspection.
So I'm very visual. I like to look at a lot of pictures.
Perfect.
How many pictures do you include? Are your reports more picture oriented, more text oriented? What's your approach that way?
Good question. The body of the report will be, and by the way, you can look on our website to go look at a sample report. The body, what we will do is actually, body will have a little bit more information, more maintenance things. It'll be more in detail. It will have pictures, but the summary is what we go over in the end of the inspection with the client. And that has basic pictures of what we're specifically talking about. It'll have a area location in regards to where the say, for instance, the outlet in the kitchen. It'll have kitchen on the bottom, and then whatever the discrepancy is will be a short, brief description of that. In the body, it'll be a little bit more lengthy, but in the summary, we're just going over a hit list. So instead of me saying, just like I did, an outlet in the kitchen, that means nothing to you really. But if I could show you a picture and a little description as to what the concern is, like the GFCI is not functioning, so we need to have that and make sure that's there for safety reasons. So that will be all listed very, very down and dirty, dry, not dry, but very specific and short and to the point is what I'm getting at. So that's what you see in our report.
Find a sample of your report.
Let's see. It might be under resources. Home resources. Let's see. Gardening. That's just an example.
I'm gonna keep showing your website. So don't let me distract you.
Okay. Yes. No. So yeah, for a visual person like yourself, and it's super important that we don't overwhelm you with pictures, but that we build a picture with words and visually what we're trying to communicate. And not, but again, being cautious as to not scare anybody away. So yeah, definitely that report is important in that review and giving those pictures. So, people like, I'm a visual learner too. So I have to see things. If I read it, I can't really grasp the whole idea for me in just reading it. I like to see things and see what I'm looking at. So that's why we put that in the report, so they can understand, because a lot of people don't understand the different systems too of what I take a picture inside the guts of a furnace, for instance. They've probably never seen one before. So we want to use arrows, we want to use highlights, we want to use wording to focus their eye and their attention to what we want to give them as far as detail.
Right, exactly. So when you find a problem that you're trying to highlight, how do you basically word that so that you basically let the buyer and let the realtor know that, okay, this needs more work?
Yeah. Good answer. Oh, good question. I think the answer to that would be how we approach it is it depends. For the most part, what we do is we try to keep it very straight and to the point. We don't want to get too wordy and into paragraphs and things like that. And that's just for the description and especially the summary, obviously. But we want to get into the point where we take the picture. And this is what this is how we're designed to be and geared. You're kind of looking under the hood in regards to home team is we have 2 inspectors. We have a proprietary software that we go in and we make and can design and control ourselves. So what we do is we cite it as an inspector. We're taught to look at it, cite it, make the proper choice in the software. Take a picture of it, highlight it if you need to. Those automatically have their templates already ready for us. And we could put in a brief description. For instance, like the GFCI issue. GFCI is non-functioning. Simple as that. And then we may put in the body of the report, you may see GFCI is required in areas where there's wet or water located. It's for safety and kind of get into a little bit more detail. Done. Move on to the next one. What do we find next? And it's a build of small discrepancies that we find, or individual in discrepancies that we find that builds the report itself. So that's how we would handle it. Again, we're trying not to overwhelm you with words or even pictures, because we can draw arrows all over the place and you may see circles and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? So we try to calm it down, just get straight and to the point.
That is actually a very important point, because yes, it's important to get a home inspection because you want to know what is going on. But at the same time, you don't want to be overwhelmed, because what we can do afterwards is, based on your inspection report, we can then go ahead and get a lot of estimates and find out how much fixing those problems would cost. But if your report is super detailed and super scary, then it's just going to scare off the buyer from moving forward and buying a home that could have simple fixes. Absolutely. I really like what you have here, because you have some other services that are also very important. This one is my particular favorite. So
yeah, that's something we're bringing online, a sewer scope, very soon. Just because of the infrastructure of San Diego, it is getting, up in age. And we've seen there's some older homes. I mean, I've done quite a few 100-year-old homes. And there's just basically, that's a perfect example of that picture right there. Great. That's a sewer. That's a sewer line. But what's under the ground? What are we looking at? I can't visually see that without a camera. So, we could test the system and we'll run water through there, and we'll challenge the system. And by turning on faucets, multiple faucets, draining tubs, flushing toilets, draining sinks, to keep the faucets on running, and wait for a backup. But if we get a backup, that's, we need to figure out what's going on and what the condition of the sewer scope or the sewer system is, because those things aren't cheap to fix. Let's just be honest. And they could, if it's a section versus a whole long, piece of pipe, that's a big difference, especially if there's trees in the area of the sewer line. We just want to get that checked. Like I said, anything over 15, 20 years, we want to start getting a scope on for sure. I recommend it with everybody. And once we get this thing online, it's going to be the number one push that we're going to actually do, because it's so worth it. We're gonna be charging less than what most people will be doing too, because it's going to be included in the inspection. So it's going to be affordable, and that small amount that investment that you put in there, knowing that those systems are working all the way to the street, is that peace of mind is huge, because of the infrastructure that we have in San Diego, and it is getting older. And we do see clay pipes, we do see, cast iron. So we want to make sure that those things are all intact or have been replaced or abandoned. And that's another thing. We can see a pipe, but we don't know what it's connected to. So we make sure that it's in good. It'll be in good condition. So that's definitely why something we are looking to do in the very near future and get that on board, because it's super important. It's it's right up there with the pest inspection, which is what we've done is really, we've got that on board to have a pest inspector work alongside us, a contractor, because by the state of law, unless you apply it, state law requires us to actually have a certification in pest control and apply it. There's some companies out there that just skirt that, but what we do is we bring in a professional that sees this stuff every day in his field, and he does the inspection with us on scene, and simultaneously parallel. So that way we get the report, we've uploaded into our report, and it's all there in one area. And so this is the same thing that's going to be the scope of why there's some importance to it, and the need to have it for the client is super important. And I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for them.
Tell us about your pre-listing home inspections. Why would a seller want to have a home inspection done?
Boy, there's a variety of reasons to have that. Right off the top of my head, it's just to prepare the kind of simple things that can be done that we normally see as an inspection. So you're preparing the house basically not only for a sale but for an inspection at the buyer side. So what we'll do is we will look for things like, some of the top things that we see is dirty air filters for HVAC systems. Those are super easy to fix. They allow the system to work more efficiently, and that way your air is cleaner too. Simple things like that. Gutters are always full of debris, but you know what? Those things back up. They could back up into the roof and go under the shingles, causing a leak. They cause rot. They hold water. Those type of things are huge. But more specifically, if we find maybe a more serious concern, a foundation or a roof leak, that can either be fixed, repaired, or it could be disclosed. In this type of market, it's like here, people are buying whatever they, whatever it is, the way it is, how it is, they're buying it. And so in that situation, there's no surprises during the actual inspection where it's like, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't see that. There's our report. Yep.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. So.
And there's your pictures. There's your pictures.
Favorite pictures. That's it.
Yep.
Excellent.
Right down to the point.
Yeah, and then basically we can then take it from there, and from your report and from your warnings, then we can go ahead and we can set up estimates to
or further have like electricians come in or contractors, because again, we do only a visual inspection. We can't see what's going on the wall, so we'll call out when it gets to the point where things need to be, we need to have a diagnostic inspection, which involves some more involved testing and equipment for a system. Then by all means, we will have a contractor, suggest a contractor come out to do more detailed inspection. The other thing too is we offer Porch, which is a company that is twofold. We offer it to our clients. It's a concierge service for contractors. So when they move in, or they need moving assistance, or they need a TV hung, or they need a whole roof redone, that contractor's there, and these people are vetted and they're locally sourced. They're not going to come from LA. They're not going to come from Arizona or anything like that. But Porch also has a product that we use to help agents do estimates. We could do an estimate based off our report, and it's a conservative estimate that basically extracts all the deficiencies and then puts a cost on it. Because a little unknown, one of these misnomers is that when an inspector comes out and looks at an HVAC system and he goes, it's gonna cost X amount of money, run, because that is totally out of our scope to go ahead and start getting estimates. A little spigot, something like that, a couple dollars, $10 or so, depending on the spigot. Okay, that's one thing. But when we're getting into big systems, giving estimates, that's not something that's out of our scope, and that's not something we could do, and we can get in trouble for that too. That's why we bring in the contractors. That's why we bring in the estimate sheet through Porch to give you all those estimates that you need.
Well, I like this part of your website, all the good 5-star reviews. Great job.
Thank you. We're a bit of proud. We're proud of that, and we love to see that. But that just kind of goes towards the customer service that we have and look forward to. As a firefighter and as a fire inspector, I learned how to interact with the individuals, and they were our customers. They were the public that we served, and so I carried what I learned over there, and they weren't always like good things. Let me tell you, especially as a fire inspector, and it always as a firefighter, it wasn't necessarily the most opportune time for them. It's a time of emergency for them. So yeah. I learned the communication to be able to carry that into my business now, into helping individuals with home inspections.
Well, thank you very much. This was very helpful, Jim. We appreciate you coming on our show. And audience, if you have any questions or if you like to get in touch with Jim, here is his cell phone number.
Yes.
And here is Jim's email address if you want to get in touch with him, and his website, which we navigated through together. Here is his website. You can find him at any of these places.
Yes, please. Please call me if you want a review of another inspection, even if we didn't do the report and you need some help on it. No charge. We're going to here to help. If you have questions about systems, no charge. We're going to help you. We're here to help you. We're here to partner with you as agents to help your clients. Ultimately, we understand that if we get you to the finish line and selling a house, that's what it's all about, is to get you on to the next one quickly, efficiently. You'll have your report the same day. We bring a two-man team, a minimum 2-person team to come in, get out as quickly as we can. And you know what? We provide that service too. And that's been key to get us our stars. So we thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And audience, thank you so much for joining us today. If you like to get a hold of me, here's my cell phone number. And if email is easier, here's my email address. And we appreciate you coming on and watching our show. And you have a great day.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day.